Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to the Abundance Club. It is wonderful to have you here for this episode. We are nearing to the end of 2024. And can I just say it's unfathomable, really. I mean, I launched this podcast in March this year, and I still really feel like it's in its infancy, even though we're some 40 episodes in, around the mid 40s. And I'm super excited because I actually have some wonderful guests that I'm interviewing this week for the podcast. So I'm hoping that along with this episode, there will be a couple more that get released before the end of the year. Um, but this may be my last solo episode for the year before I have a house full of guests that are arriving, family from interstate, uh, and from this state that are arriving to stay with us. Come the weekend, I'm likely to have a house full of people. So this may be my last quiet opportunity to be recording a solo episode. And so, really, what I wanted to focus on for you guys to get the most value out of this as we are moving into this, I really call this the space in between and this transitionary period before 2024 into 2025. And maybe for you, you're working all of the time. Maybe you've already started to slow down and take the space. Maybe you're waiting and you get that period between Christmas and New Year to pause, which I always find really delicious time. And it's interesting because I don't subscribe a lot to the calendar New Year in terms of it being, we tend to want to set our goals and focus on our manifestations at the beginning of the year. And I don't really operate in that particular way. And I think I've mentioned this before. I mean, just because it's the beginning of the year, yes, there's an energy about it that supports us in our creations or in really tapping into what we want for ourselves. But in this episode today, I want to speak a little bit more about navigating this time and navigating this period of uncertainty specifically. And I'm not just referring to the uncertainty that comes when we cross from one year into the next, but really more collectively, more globally, the uncertainty that we are moving through on a larger scale that we've experienced. I know many have experienced this year, which has brought up a lot of triggers, a lot of fear, a lot of instability, and so forth. And, that is something that is going to continue as we move into 2025. I'm not saying that to scare you or trigger you. And really, what I'm hoping from this episode is that by the end, by listening to this episode, you feel really inspired, you feel really activated and anchored in who you are and your place, kind of like being the eye in the storm, that still point, that kind of 0 point right in the middle of the swirling, I want to say chaos or uncertainty or just the unknown that is swirling around us. And this is because we are in the driver's seat now as individual souls, and collectively, we are moving into a place more and more. There's an acceleration that's happening where we are collectively co creating our reality. We have not walked this timeline before. So we don't know what lies ahead. And so, what I want to say to that is now more than ever, as spiritually aware and awake individuals, which all of you are if you are listening to this podcast. You wouldn't be drawn into my world if you weren't. And maybe you're on an earlier stage of the journey where you're just starting to really open your eyes and wake up and see your part in the grand play of life that you signed up for before you incarnated. So bear with me. It might sound a little woo at the moment, but really there are some solid, supportive concepts that I want to talk about today. But really, now more than ever, we are being asked as individual souls And in our humanness, because we are souls having a human experience, so we need to be able to operate in the three-dimensional, as well as remember the bigger picture, as well as remember who we are. But we are being asked more than ever to step into the driver's seat of creation. We are creating a new world paradigm. I've mentioned this before, and it just feels really important to remind you of this as you take this space for yourself. And hopefully, no matter what's occurring in your life, you are able to take some space for yourself. But we are all participants in creating a new earth. We are all here evolving on this planet, whether you like it or not. So it is up to us. It's really up to us to decide what that looks like individually and collectively. And I know that in saying that, it can seem both terrifying and deeply exhilarating and empowering. Life is the mirror reflecting back to us our belief. It says yes. It says yes always to what we are allowing, but it also says yes to what we're disallowing ourselves to receive. And now more than ever, you might be in your own life feeling the nudges, sensing the whispers, feeling a sense that there is something more waiting for you, something more than what you are currently experiencing in your reality. And maybe you haven't allowed yourself to tap into that. There can be various reasons for that, but there is something more waiting for you to claim and receive. And more than what you've ever allowed yourself to claim and receive in the past. Our life right now, your life is a reflection of your past beliefs. Everything that you have believed and thought has created your current reality. Again, can be a little bit terrifying, maybe empowering. But what it does show you is that you can flick that switch at any time. You can choose and claim and create a new reality for yourself. But in order to do that, you need to come back from being perhaps in more of a victim of circumstance, right? Particularly if you don't feel like you are empowered in your reality, and land a little bit more solidly into what you're here for, your purpose as a conscious creator. Because this new energy and the energy that's calling us into a new, let's say, calendar year, for want of a better word, but this new energy is asking us to take leaps. It's requiring us to. It's asking us to shift out of and away from more of a masculine approach, more of a masculine paradigm, which is the paradigm that we have been conditioned in for so many years, all of our life, likely, which is very much rooted in control, in needing to know, in feeling like we need to make it happen. We need to make stuff happen. So it's very much been like an us against the world kind of thing. Like, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? It's all up to me. Very solo, very separate, very, very separate, because it's coming from the ego, and the ego believes in separation. It does not believe that we are one, that we are part of this one consciousness, that everything is connected. So this new frequency, this new energy, which is going to be very prominent in 2025, it is requiring one specific thing of us right now. And this thing is really what I believe to be the most important when it comes to manifestation and conscious co-creation. It is the thing that's got me from where I am in navigating some pretty rocky waters, definitely some unknown waters, in the leaps that I have needed to take in my life, both personal and business, that have allowed for really profound rewards, often against fairly significant odds. And this one thing is trust. So I want to ask you, check in. How are your trust muscles? When you are dancing in the unknown, when nothing is happening. All right, it's all very well to say, my trust is great when you feel like life is just always going in your favor. Everything is okay. You're happy with everything as it is, right? We're not really flexing those muscles. So life is going to present us with situations where it tests and challenges us to go, show us how much you can lean in trust. Show us how much you can start to work those muscles. And like anything, when you go to the gym, when you do your Pilates reformer class, like I did this morning, and you're using those weights, like you can't just go once and then go, look, I've got these big muscles. No, it takes time. You've got to work on those muscles to build up. Same thing with trust. So when nothing's happening, despite your wanting, when you're not seeing evidence in your physical reality that affirms to you everything's going according to plan, despite your hoping for a situation to be different, can you be with yourself in the great void? Can you sit in the in between, knowing it holds its own purpose in preparing you for what's to come? This in between can feel really funky if we're used to being in control and wanting to know the answers and feeling like we have to make stuff happen. The reason I'm mentioning this now is that many of us are in this space right now. It's the pause in between the breaths. It's the pulling back of the wave as it builds up before moving back into shore with greater momentum. So I'm just throwing out some analogies there. I hope they land. I love analogies. So when nothing is happening, when you're feeling like this stagnation, our human tendency is to hustle, is to try and make something happen. And I think that we've all been there before. I know I certainly have, and I still fall into this trap. Our human senses so cleverly tempt us into believing that just because we can't perceive it in our 3D reality with our physical senses, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. It mistakes stagnation or inaction for regression, right? I've been there before. Ask yourself, maybe you're there right now going, nothing's happening for me. When is it going to happen? This is all rooted in a fear space. When we are in fear, we are not in trust. And this is the old 3D paradigm that we are now really being asked by our guides, by our guidance system, by that divine intelligence to move away from, to shift out of. This is, you've probably heard about that, moving into new earth frequency, shifting out of 3D into 4D, into 5D. This is what it involves. Fear does not hold the weight that maybe it does in a place where you're really needing it for survival. But right now, it is not serving a purpose to guide you. It can't do that. If fear guides you, the only place it's going to guide you is backwards and into the past. And that's not where you want to go. Might feel safe, but really, as we shift out of into this new earth frequency, the safest place that you can be is in trust and in deeply grounded and rooted in who you are. Okay, so we are being tested in our relationship with discomfort, with inaction, with the pause, with the void. If you are going through this, know that you are not alone. And we are being asked to deeply trust that although we might not be able to see the physical evidence of our manifestation right now, just because we are in the unknown, as so many of us are, and we don't know what's to come because we haven't walked this path before, we are creating a new paradigm, doesn't mean it's not happening, that we're not being prepared for its arrival, for that manifestation to arrive. The pause gives the universe time to rearrange things. The pause gives us space to ensure that we are energetically open and have enough space and ease in our nervous system to be able to receive what is wanting to come in for us because we can only create the level of safety that we feel in our nervous system. So our mind might be saying, I'm so ready for this. I'm so ready. It's time. Here I go. I'm ready. Our body might have another story that's still needing to process some old limiting beliefs or some past trauma or clear some things or clear some fears. So we need to get really good at coming home to ourselves and noticing, how am I feeling, letting ourselves feel. And this is a really, really beautiful and powerful time to do that. So instead of using this time right now before we welcome in the new year to plan out 2025 and map out your goals and ask yourself, what do I need to do to make it happen? I mean, to me, that just feels very old 3D way of manifesting. It's manufactured, it's deeply masculine, and it's rooted in separation and control. And this isn't to diss the masculine. We all have that. We all need that. We need inspired action. We need to take action. However, it needs to be guided. Otherwise, we're throwing spaghetti at wall thinking, what's going to stick? Allow it to be guided. Allow your soul to guide you. So we're shifting out of this space of feeling like unless we make it happen, it's not going to happen, into more of an embodied, more of the feminine. We need to bring in more of that surrendered approach to manifestation that asks us, that requires us to work in communion with our spiritual nature, in collaboration with the divine. And the divine aspect of creation is asking us to lean into this surrendered approach by asking ourselves, how do I need to be? How do I need to be? Not rather than what do I need to do to make it happen, but how do I need to be to make it welcome? How can I become the ultimate, infinite, embodied receiver of this desire? Knowing that if it's a desire in your heart, it's already on its way to you. It's already lined up on your highest timeline. It's a given. So your job in this process as a conscious co-creator, yes, is having the vision and the desire, letting yourself tap into that, but it's really also about taking care of yourself, knowing that it's your energy that creates more than your action. It's your feelings, thoughts, and beliefs about who you are, how worthy you are of receiving, how good you are at receiving, how deserving you are of your manifestation that produces your dominant vibration, that core frequency that we naturally emit into the field, because we're always emitting a vibration. It's that core dominant frequency that we emit when we are in true alignment with our most authentic self. And our most authentic self is our most magnetic self. So if you really want to manifest your desires in 2025, which I know you do, you need to start asking yourself, who do I need to become? How do I become a vibratory match for those desires? Who is this version of me who is already living that reality? How can I be more in my truth, my joy, my love? These are all the expansionary qualities that raise up our vibration. And if you want to know how to tap into that more and really work in this space, I'm actually running a circle and an activation on the 31st of December. I'll pop it in the show notes. It's a circle and activation that goes for 90 minutes, 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on December 31st, which is going to align you with this. It's going to prepare you for this movement and this transition into accessing and really tapping into the highest version of you who is ready to live this life that you desire. So we want to tap into these expansionary qualities like love, like truth, like joy, rather than dismay, worry, fear, doubt. Has that been ruling your psyche? Which serves no purpose other than to bring us into a state of contraction. When we are in fear, we are not in trust. And I heard it said, and I really resonate with this as well, that the opposite of anxiety is trust. So That's the antidote, right? Shifting out of fear state and anxious state. What would it look like for you to trust? Trust in yourself, trust in the process, in the timing of life, trust in the universe, that it's always here supporting you. Anxiety thrives on uncertainty and fear and separation and a perceived lack of control. Trust, on the other hand, is rooted in surrender and faith and a belief that things will work out as they are meant to. So, how do we shift out of the contraction into the expansion? This is really about having a belief that we are supported by life, by the universe, that there is a divine plan that you are a part of, even if you can't see it, feel it, and know it. It's there nonetheless. You are being guided and you are being prepared. So when nothing is working or when nothing is happening as it's perceived by our senses, what would it be like if you tried doing nothing? If you just did nothing? What if you would allow instead yourself to pause, to be in the perceived stagnation or the void, and to let that be your teacher? What if you actually instead took care of yourself, great care of yourself? Maybe that means running a bath, clearing out your closets. My gosh, I did this yesterday in my boys' room, clearing out the old stuff to make room, to make energetic space for what wants to come in. Or maybe you go for a walk. Like, how can you deeply take care of yourself and nourish yourself when nothing is happening? Sometimes we need to take a foot off the gas and have faith that when you step back, you'll be shown. Allow the universe to do its job. It's a co-creation. It's a partnership. And trust that you will know when to act, when to make a move. That step will be revealed to you and you won't miss it. So I invite you to begin to notice what happens. See what happens when you step off the battlefield and allow the solution to come in divinely. So right now, can you allow this episode to inspire you, encourage you to deepen your relationship with trust? And maybe trust is asking you to let go a little more in your life, to surrender. Maybe trust is asking you to take space and pause. Maybe trust is asking you to take a leap. And by the way, you can be in the driver's seat and in trust simultaneously. It's kind of like driving with a blindfold on, which opens up all of your senses to be shown the way, to be guided, to be led. Because you have a vision in your heart, you have a desire. Even if you don't quite know what that is right now, you can intentionalize. You can claim that you are walking your highest timeline and you will be shown the way as you need to know it. So trust allows you to lean into surrender and know that divine timing is always at play. This can be one of the most challenging lessons, divine timing. It's God's time. It's not your human time. So even though you might feel ready to step into that next level of reality or call in your dream, there is a higher plan at play that is unfolding and is asking you to do your part in preparing yourself energetically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, possibly even physically for this next part of your journey. Resistance or forcing only pushes it further down the road, but letting go and surrender and deep faith magnetizes it closer. So before I leave you, I want to share that if you feel like you are ready to claim your bigger vision or tap into and align with the version of you who's the vibrational match for your dream, and this is doing the energy work, this is doing the internal work in clearing and releasing what might be standing in your way, what has been holding you back, in recalibrating your nervous system, in reprogramming your subconscious for success and abundance, and really, really tapping into your soul wisdom and allowing yourself to be led by that higher aspect of you, if this is calling you to move and lean further into that, then I invite you to lean into some support. I would love to support you to anchor into a new reality in 2025 and receive all that nourishes, inspires you, and lights you up. And if it's not me, then maybe it's another coach or mentor, but having that support is what allows for the acceleration. I have a 2 and 4 month package in my Soul and Abundance mentoring. I will link it in the show notes. And applications are open now for either starting in July, sorry, not July, in January or February. And I really believe that having a mentor or coach to support your growth and acceleration is one of the best investments you can make, because it's not just what you will achieve and receive into your life by doing this, but what's far more powerful, what's far more impactful is who you become on this journey. And that is something that no one can ever take from you. And the growth and the acceleration that I have witnessed, been a part of, and experienced and witnessed in my clients this year has been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So I have opened up some spots to take on some more people. Most of my women who I mentor continue on a further number of months because they're getting so much benefit of it. And to have the guidance, because I also bring in the spiritual guidance and the psychic guidance, the intuitive guidance, as well as the support, whether that's in business, whether that's personal, whether that's more of a soul acceleration. This program, this mentorship program, meets you exactly where you're at. So the link is in the show notes. Reach out to me, send me an email or DM me on Instagram if you want to chat more about this further, or we can do a discovery call, but I would love to support you. Okay, that's it for me for now. Have the most beautiful break. If you're getting a break, and hopefully you are at some kind. And I hope this episode helps and supports you to walk that path in a really conscious way and in a way where you can lean deeply into trust and know that you're taken care of and you've got this. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you could share it with someone, if you can review it, and make sure that you're following along on your chosen podcast platform, because there are some new episodes coming that I'm so excited to get into your ears. Thank you so much for your support this year. I love you so much. I hope this helps, and I look forward to connecting with you more soon. Take care.